Okay, students. So now in this session, we are going to learn how to hedge your foreign exchange exposure with the help of internal hedging techniques. And also we are going to learn how to hedge your foreign exchange exposure with the help of external hedging technique as well. See, basically what happens is that when a foreign exchange transaction occurs, we are exposing ourselves to foreign exchange fluctuations, right? And one of the way to hedge the foreign exchange risk is what? That you can enter into a forward contract, right? And hedge yourself against the foreign exchange risk. So let's say, for example, if I have imported goods from US on 1st of April and I am supposed to make the payment on, let's say, 1st of July, okay, or 30th of June. So then for the period of 3 months, I am exposing myself to the foreign exchange fluctuation. So to avoid that foreign exchange fluctuation, what can I do today? I can enter into a forward contract where I will fix up at what price I'll be purchasing this dollars after the period of 3 months because I'm an importer. So I have to buy the dollars and I have to make the payment after the period of 3 months, right? So basically, what happens is that over the period of 3 months' time, I am exposing myself to foreign exchange fluctuations. So whatever will be the foreign exchange fluctuations, then the gain or loss is something which will be my burden. So to avoid that, to relieve myself from such kind of a stress, how can I hedge myself? I can enter into a forward contract where I can customize the contract with the bank where at a predetermined price, I can fix up that at this particular date I will come, I'll buy these much dollars from you at this particular rate, irrespective of whatever is the price on the expected spot. Okay. Now, along with this, what are the other hedging techniques we are going to learn in this particular session, which will help an importer or exporter to avoid foreign exchange fluctuations? Okay. So I'll just give you one small brief introduction that in hedging, as you all know, that we can enter into, as we discussed, a forward contract, correct? Now, also along with that, what we can do is we can enter into a money market hedge, which will help us to avoid this foreign exchange fluctuations. Also, at the same time, there is something which is called as lagging, and there is something which is called as leading, and also there is something which is called as netting. So all these are the transactions in which we can hedge our foreign exchange fluctuations. So forward contract, as you all are aware, it's a customized contract with the bank wherein you decide that what is going to be the price at which you will be buying or selling the foreign currency in future. Okay. So money market hedge is something where we are going to take the advantage of the interest rates, that is deposit rates and borrowing rates of both the countries, and hedge ourselves against it. In lagging, we are going to check that if suppose the payment is not made today, but after some period of time, then how much helpful is that particular process, which is going to help us in determining the gains or loss due to this particular technique. Leading deals with what? That instead of making the payment after some period of time, if we make the payment today itself, then how is going to impact our foreign exchange gain or loss? And netting means that how can we set off our internal transactions of the subsidiary companies, etc., in such a way that we can reduce the foreign exchange exposure to a particular extent. Okay. Of course, apart from this, there is also something which is called as currency futures and options, which comes in the derivative segment of it. So that is also something which we're going to discuss at a later stage. But for the time being, this forward contract, you all are aware about how to, hedge yourself against the forward contracts. But now, money market, lagging, leading, and netting. This is something which we are going to learn in this session. Okay. How are we going to enter into these kind of transactions to avoid our foreign exchange fluctuations and foreign exchange risk? Okay. Now, see, in this particular case, Now, first, let me start with one very basic question, okay, about your forward contracts only. Now, see what is given to you. ABC company have taken a 6-month loan from the foreign collaborators for $2 million, and interest is payable on maturity at LIBOR plus 1%. Current 6-month LIBOR is 2%, and inquiries regarding exchange rates with their bank elicit the following information, in which there is a spot rate which is given to you. $1 is equal to rupees 48.5275, and 6-month forward is $1 is equal to rupees 48.4575. What would be their total commitment in rupees if they enter into a forward contract? Second part is, will you advise them to do so and explain giving reasons? Okay. So these are the two important things which is there in this particular question. See guys, first of all, we have to identify that we are entering into a transaction where our foreign exchange is payable or receivable. Now, in this particular case, ABC company have taken a 6-month loan from the foreign collaborators for $2 million. So basically, we have taken a loan. Now, when we have taken a loan, then definitely we have to make the repayment of this particular loan along with interest at some future date. Come on, yes or no? Yes, sir. And when we are going to make the payment at a future date, definitely whatever are going to be the foreign exchange rates on that particular date, we are going to expose ourselves to that. Okay. So that is the foreign currency risk which we are going to face. Now, for that, they have told you that there is a spot rate and there is a 6-month forward rate which is available. Now, how do you calculate the amount of interest? Now, when they tell you that 6-month LIBOR is 2%, so of course, there are two interpretations to it. You can interpret like this, okay, sir, this is just the interest rate for the period of 6 months. Or we can interpret it like this, as we have done it earlier as well, that, okay, sir, this is a 6-month LIBOR rate. It means that this is the rate on per annum basis for the loan which you are taking for a period of 6 months. So when you are taking a loan for a period of 6 months, the rate of interest on per annum basis which is applicable to you is 2%. Okay. But yes, you will be definitely paying the interest on half yearly basis. So we have to calculate the proportionate interest on it. So many students get confused here. Okay, sir, how do we calculate the rate? Whether it should be on per annum basis or whether this rate should be on 6-month basis. Now, when they give you such kind of an information, let's say they give you a data like this. Example, 3-month LIBOR. Okay. 3-month LIBOR is 4%. Then they give you 6-month LIBOR as, let's say, for example, 6%. Then they give you 12-month LIBOR. Okay. That is nothing but 8%. Now see, all these rates are on per annum basis always. That's how at least institute interprets this. Okay, so these rates are on per annum basis, and here we have to understood like this, that it's a 6-month LIBOR which is 6% per annum. So when we are taking a loan for the period of 6 months, then this rate on per annum basis will be applicable to you. But when we'll be calculating the interest will definitely be on the proportionate basis of 6 months. So here, what will be the interest for the 6-month period? Then it's going to be 3%. Okay. Similarly, if you are taking a loan of 3 months, then the rate of interest which will be applicable, that will be 4% per annum. Now, 4% per annum is the rate of interest on per annum basis. But we are just taking a loan for the period of 3 months. So when we are going to calculate the amount of interest, it will be 4% into 3 divided by 12. And for 12%, so any which way, for 12 months is 8% is on per annum basis, and we have to pay the interest for the full 12 months. So that's going to be 8% itself. Okay. Just one small clarification on how the interest is interpreted in this question, because it is also there in a study module. Now here in this case, they have told you that a current 6-month LIBOR is 2%. So I can put it like this. You can go to your notebooks and now see, let's solve this together. What is given to you? 6 months LIBOR is equal to 2%. and the rate of interest which is applicable to us is LIBOR plus 1%. So rate of interest applicable is equal to 2% plus 1%. So that is 3%. Now this 3% is interpreted on per annum basis. Okay. So we will assume like this. It is assumed that rate of interest is per annum. Therefore, we need to calculate proportionate interest. Correct? Okay, so we have to calculate your proportionate interest. Now, what is the amount of the loan which you are taking? So we are taking a loan of $2 million. Okay, so I'll write down here loan taken is equal to $20 lakhs. Okay. Therefore, what will be your amount repaid? Can I say that is going to be $20 lakh plus interest at the rate 3% per annum for the period of 6 months? Correct? So this is the amount which is supposed to be repaid at the end of 6 months. So what is your foreign exchange exposure? Can I say that will be 20 lakh into 1.5%? So that's going to be $20 lakh 30,000. Okay, so your interest will be $30,000 and we are supposed to repay 20 lakh $30,000. Now, when is this going to happen? This is definitely going to happen after the period of 6 months. So that is why today's spot rate is different. Forward rate is given to you in the question. So we have to now just check what would be their total commitment in rupees if they enter in a forward contract. Perfect. So I'll write down point number 1. If company enters into forward contract. So how are they hedging? Okay. So in this particular case, we have the forward rate available, 6-month forward rate, that is $1 is equal to 48.4575. So now we'll be taking $20 lakh 30,000 into, I'll be multiplying by rupees 48.4575. Correct? So now this will give me somewhere around 9 crore 83 lakhs 68,725. Okay. So is this going to be my rupee outflow? Come on, yes or no? Yes, sir. And this rupee outflow is going to be when? It is going to be at the end of the 6 months. And will you advise them to do so? Explain giving reasons. So now let us see the second part. What is the spot rate which is given to you? The spot rate which is given to you is $1 is equal to rupees 48.5275. So we have the spot as $1 is equal to rupees 48.5275. Correct? And your 6-month forward is $1 is equal to rupees 48.4575. 48.4575. Can you all just see that your dollar is depreciating and your rupee is appreciating as per the forward estimates? Because you all can just check that rupee is now strengthening. First, dollar was available for 48.5275. After 6 months, we are expecting that dollar is available for 48.4575. Can I say that the dollar is becoming cheaper after the period of 6 months? Come on, yes or no? Yes. What does it signify? It signifies that dollar is weakening and rupee is strengthening. after the period of 6 months. Okay, so this data gives you such kind of a hint. Okay, now what can be the advice here? See, actually, advice can only be given when we have some data of expected spot after the period of 6 months. If you know that after the period of 6 months, there are chances that dollar one is going to become rupees 50, then we can say that definitely we can enter into a forward contract. Why? Because forward looks cheaper. Okay, because we are an importer. So for an importer, if the rupee is strengthening, it's great news. Why is that? Because dollar is available now at a much cheaper rate. Okay, so they will always wish that your Indian currency, their home currency, should now be more and more strong. Okay, so in this particular case, you can give an advice like this. Okay, since the forward rates, these are relatively lower as compared to the spot rates, it indicates that rupee is strengthening as compared to dollars, right? So here in this particular case, if suppose such kind of dynamics is possible, then an importer can take a chance of not entering into a forward contract, keep himself exposed till 6 months and see what is going to be your expected spot rate. And suppose your expected spot rate in that particular case is even lower than this, then in that particular case, it's worth taking a chance and the importer will definitely be at profits. But then the second advice what you can give is, it is possible that dollar, as 6 month forward rate right now it is estimated like this, but dollar is always appreciating against rupee. It's a very strong currency, and such kind of exposure can lead to some problems as well. Okay, so we have to be very diplomatic here because expected spot rate is actually not given to you in the question. So when institute has given both the opinions, the first opinion is exactly what I discussed, that since the forward rate is such that it is appreciating, you know, your rupee is appreciating. So it's worth taking a chance by not entering into a forward contract. And because we are importers, let us expose ourselves to the fluctuations of foreign exchange rates. And the second is, like, if suppose an importer is conservative, then we advise them that they should enter into a forward contract. Okay. So we'll just quickly write down this. From the data available, we interpret that dollar is weakening against rupees after 6 months. For an importer, if home currency is appreciating, then it will lead to a lower domestic currency outflow. Lower domestic currency outflow. Correct? Because your rupee outflow will definitely be reduced. Okay. So a lower domestic currency outflow. Hence, an importer can be exposed and expect further strengthening of home currency to gain additional profits. To gain additional profits. Okay. This is one of the view or one of the advice which we can give them. Okay. And the second advice is, if an importer is conservative, then we advise we advise forward contracts. That's it. Okay. So one of the way where you can hedge yourself is by entering into forward contract. Okay. So a very basic question just to make you a little bit aware about how do you interpret the interest rates also. Also at the same time, what are these two calculations and how to deal with that. Okay. Now, after this, let us start with the next one. Now, what is given to you? Okay. In March, the multinational industries makes the following assessment of dollar rates per British pound to prevail as on 1st of September. So we have a pound quote available. How much dollars per pound? Okay, and the respective probabilities are given to you. Now, what is the expected spot rate for 1st of September? Can I say the expected spot rate will be what? Whatever are the estimated spot rates, you multiply that by probability and average it out, right? So will that give you the expected spot rate? Come on, yes or no? Yes, sir. Very basic thing. So if you want to calculate your expected spot, how do you do that? You will take whatever is your estimated spot rate, you multiply that by probability and average it. Okay. So that is your solution to the first part. And if as of March, the 6 month forward rate is $1.8, should the firm sell forward its pound receivables due in September? Okay. So that is something which we'll discuss only after we know what is the expected spot. So see, in the previous question, there was no expected spot rate which was available, right? But if institute gives you such kind of a data where we have to calculate the expected spot, so can you do that with the help of estimated spots and multiply that by probability? Yes or no? Yes, sir. Okay. So the first thing which we will write down here is calculation of expected spot. See, I always tell you, my dear students, that please solve this along with me. Okay. Just don't go through the video. Just don't, fast forward it, or, just don't take the screenshot of the solutions. Rather, just practice it. Okay. So in this particular case, we have dollar per pound and we have their probabilities available. Okay. So 1.6, 1.7, 1.8, 1.9 and 2, correct? So these are the estimated and the probability is 0.15, 0.20, 0.25, 0.2 and 0.2. Okay. So will this give me the expected spot? Come on, yes or no? Yes, sir. So the answer coming is 1.81, which means what? That for every 1 pound, there is $1.81, which is expected. Okay. Now, what do we have? We have a 6 month forward of $1.8. So for a 6 month forward, we have 1 pound is $1.8. So in the second part, they have asked you, should the firm sell forward its pound receivables? Now you are an exporter. Okay. And you are going to get pounds. Now you want to sell the pounds and get it converted into dollars. So should the firm sell pounds or not? Now, obviously, if I'm expecting that after 6 months, my spot should be 1 pound is equal to $1.81, right? And if right now the forward is 1 pound is equal to $1.8, now just imagine something like this. If I'm expecting that for every 1 pound, I'm going to get 1.81, and the forward is for every 1 pound, I'm going to get $1.8 as an exporter, what would we do? Do you think that we should enter into a forward contract? Then the answer is no. We will not enter into a forward contract. Why? Because by entering into a forward contract, we are locking our 1 pound for $1.8. But we are expecting that for every 1 pound, we can get $1.81. So we are getting 0.1 cents extra as compared to the forwards. So that is why, it is very much possible that we will advise the management that if your expectation is that the dollar is going to be depreciated further as compared to what the forwards are, let us not enter into a forward contract. Okay. And because just imagine if there is 10 lakh dollar, 10 lakh pound which you are going to receive. So 10 lakh multiplied by 1.8 will give you 11 lakh $80,000, and there you will get 11 lakh $81,000. So there is $1,000 come more amount if you are going to receive, if you will keep yourself exposed to it. Okay. So here we will write down since we are planning to sell pounds in future, date, we will not enter into a forward contract as as we will receive more dollars if we remain exposed. If we remain exposed, that is pound 1 is equal to dollar 1.81 instead of pound 1 is equal to dollar 1.8. Correct? Since we are planning to sell pounds in future date, we will not enter into a forward contract as we will receive more dollars if we remain exposed. Okay. So we'll be receiving $1.81 per pound rather than 1.8. Okay. So the first question which we did in this session was more pertaining to your importers. This is more pertaining to your exporters. Okay. Now this was regarding your forward, something very easy and basic. Okay. Now I want you all to first understand the concept of money market hedge. Okay. And then we will be dealing with your leading and lagging. Okay. First, what is the concept of money market hedge? Okay. Now see, what is the basic meaning of money market? Where the interest rates are available and we have to take the help of those interest rates and check what is beneficial to us, right? So money market deals with what? It deals with deposit interest rates and borrowing interest rates. Okay. So here we are going to compare and check the deposit interest rates and the borrowing interest rates of the home country also and of the foreign country as well. Okay. So based on that, we are going to deal with the transactions. Okay. Now see, uh, we will understand this entire concept with the help of this example. Suppose Mr. A, okay, has now, first of all, where is Mr. A? Mr. A is in India. Okay. And Mr. A in India has imported, okay, goods from Mr. B, okay, who's in US. And he has imported goods on, let's say, 1st of April, okay, for dollar 1 lakh, okay. And let's say, for example, he has to make the payment on 31st of March, okay. So he has to make the payment on 31st of March. So can I say that Mr. A is exposing himself to foreign exchange fluctuations? Yes. And here it is for the period of 1 year. Okay. So you will tell me, sir, it's very simple. Let us enter into a forward contract. Okay, done. That is one of the way to hedge your foreign exchange fluctuation. But now with the help of money market hedge, how are we going to help ourselves to protect our exposure from foreign exchange fluctuations? So for that, I just need 4 important things. That is, in India and in US, what is my deposit rate? What is my borrowing rate? Okay. Now in India, suppose my deposit rate is, example, 12% per annum. Okay. And borrowing rate is 15% per annum. Obviously, you all know that the borrowing rate is going to be greater than the deposit rate only. Because if borrowing rate is less than the deposit rate, then we'll immediately enter into an arbitrage within our own country. Okay. So if the borrowing rate is 10%, we will borrow the money at 10 and deposit that at 12 to get a for sure arbitrage profit. But that's never going to be a case. Okay. So 12% and 15%. Now in US, suppose the deposit rates are, let's say 8% and your borrowing rates are 10%. Okay. Now see, can I say in my first case, there is a dollar payable, okay, and the dollar is payable after the period of 12 months. Fine. Can I say that this dollar is payable after the period of 12 months? So this is one kind of a liability for Mr. A. Come on, yes or no? Yes, sir. Okay. So Mr. A knows that today he has to make the payment after the period of 1 year or maybe after 12 months, dollar 1 lakh. Okay, so dollar 1 lakh is supposed to be paid now or it is to be paid after 12 months. Then the answer is after 12 months. So what does Mr. A think? Mr. A thinks that, okay, listen yaar, what if today itself I will deposit some dollars in US bank in such a way that I earn an interest rate of 8% per annum, and then after 12 months it automatically becomes 1 lakh, so that I can meet my whatever is the liability and I can get rid of the foreign exchange fluctuations. So what is Mr. A thinking? That today itself at year 0, let me deposit the dollars in US bank itself in such a way that that deposit is going to earn 8% rate, and after the end of year 1 I'm going to get my dollar 1 lakh, and that 1 lakh dollar I can use it for the purpose of making the payment to Mr. B. And in such a way, what will happen, that I will free myself from whatever is the foreign exchange fluctuation after the end of 12 months. So in money market hedge, at year 0 itself, you nullify your foreign exchange risk. And how do you do that? So you do that by taking into consideration whatever is the deposits of dollars in US bank in such a way that after the end of year 1, it materializes to be 1 lakh dollars. So what I actually need is what should be the present value, of dollar 1 lakh at 8% per annum. Okay. So how do I do this? Dollar 1 lakh into 1 divided by 1.08. Okay. Now just wait here very thoroughly. Okay. 1 divided by 1.08 into 1 lakh will give me what? Dollar 9259 92,592.59. Okay. So what is Mr. A thinking? That today only I'll go to Citibank, New York, and tell Citibank, listen, take this dollar 92,592.59 at year 0 itself. Okay. Take this dollars. Okay. Deposit that at 8% per annum. So you simply take this and add 8% to it. Obviously, you'll be getting 1 lakh dollar. So after 1 year, I'll come to you. You give me 1 lakh dollar because I need to make the payment to Mr. B. So immediately what has happened? That I have protected myself with foreign exchange fluctuation at the end of year 1. That is what my objective is. That today only I am depositing 92,592.59 in the bank, which will mature and it will become 1 lakh dollar. So I am not concerned with whatever is the foreign exchange rate at the end of year 1, because that maturity will be used for the purpose of making payment. Okay. But the thing is, sir, we don't have dollar 92,952.59 right now. It's okay, no problem. If we don't have right now, then can you just check that in India, there is some borrowing rate which is given to you? Come on, yes or no? Yes. So what we will do is today only we will buy dollars. At today's spot rate only we will buy dollars, and we will buy dollars of 1 lakh or we will buy dollars of 92,000. Of course, we'll buy dollars of 92,592.59 at today's spot rate in such a way that after 1 year it will become 1 lakh. Okay. And then that 1 lakh will be met. And today we are going to borrow at what rate? 15% per annum. And after the end of year one, when I will have to repay my loan, then of course I will have to repay it in my own currency. So the question of foreign exchange fluctuation does not arise at all. Okay. So something like this. Suppose your spot rate is $1 is equal to rupees. Okay. Let's say 85.75 and rupees 85.90. Okay. So I have two rates available, bid and ask. Now what should I do today? I will go to the bank and tell, let's say for example, I go to HDFC Bank. Okay. So the transaction will be done like this. Mr. A will go to HDFC Bank. Okay. And tell HDFC Bank, listen, what is the rate of $1 if I want to buy it? So HDFC Bank will definitely give you an ask rate. What is the ask rate? 85.9. Okay, because HDFC Bank is selling $1 for 85.9. So HDFC Bank is, listen, we are selling $1 for rupees 85.9. I'm like, okay, no problem. I want total of $92,592.59. So for $92,592.59, okay, you all can solve this along with me. Come on. So what will be your rupees? 92,592.59 into 85.9. So can I say that I need 79 lakh 53,703. So I will tell HDFC Bank, listen, give me 79 lakh 53,703 by the way of loan. I'm ready to pay you interest at the rate of 15% per annum, which is my borrowing rate. Okay. And what will I do? With that 79 lakh 53,703, I will buy $92,592.59. Okay. Suppose HDFC Bank is very much okay with the credibility of Mr. A, and HDFC Bank is ready to give you 79 lakh 53,703 by the way of loan. You took that money and you immediately bought $92,592.59. Now what will you do? Will you give the payment to Mr. B? Then the answer is no. What you will do, you will deposit that. So you will immediately go to Citibank with this 92,592.59 and tell Citibank, listen, I want to deposit this money. So Citibank is like, okay, how much you want to deposit? So I'm like, I want to deposit $92,592.59. Okay. So in this particular case, Citibank has offered you a deposit rate of 8%. I'm like, okay, I already know it. So if the interest is provided at the rate of 8%, so can I say my maturity is going to now be $1 lakh? Now this maturity proceeds, when am I going to receive? Am I going to receive now or at the end of year one? Of course, at the end of year one. Now what will I do? Cut to at the end of year one. Okay. So we have taken the loan, bought dollar, deposited in the bank, and now we are relaxing. After the period of 1 year, what is happening now? Can I say at end of 12 months, Mr. B will come at my doorstep and he wants $1 lakh. I'm like, okay, wait 1 minute. I will call up Citibank and tell them mature that particular deposit. Okay. So I will receive $1 lakh from Citibank. Okay. As my maturity of deposits and make that payment to Mr. B. Okay. I'll tell Mr. B, take this 1 lakh and now go away. Perfect, this transaction is closed. But there is one more person who's standing at my doorstep. And that is HDFC Bank. And HDFC Bank is like, listen, you have taken a loan at the rate of 15% per annum. The 12 months are over. Now you are supposed to repay it. I'm like, okay, no problem. So what is my repayment of borrowings? Can I say my repayment of borrowings will be rupees 79 lakh 53,703 plus interest at the rate of 15% per annum for 1 year. So what is my total amount? Can I say I'm going to pay rupees 91 lakh 46,759? Can I say my rupee outflow is fixed? Come on, yes or no? Yes, sir. You'll be like, okay, sir, but now what is the advantage? The advantage is whatever is your spot rate at the end of 12 months, you're not worried about it. You want to check, let's say, for example, your spot at end of 12 months is now, let's say, for example, $1 is equal to rupees 95. Now, if you not have entered into a money market hedge, then can I put it like this, that you would have ended up paying how much? 95 lakh rupees. So your rupee outflow would have been 95 lakh rupees. And if suppose $1 becomes rupees 75, then definitely in money market hedge, have you incurred a loss? Come on, yes or no? Yes, it's a notional loss. Okay. But then after the end of 12 months, $1 can be anything. So can I say you are hedging yourself with these kind of fluctuations? And to hedge yourself with this kind of fluctuations, you have already decided today itself that, listen, boss, I am going to pay total rupee outflow at the end of year one at 91 lakh 46,759. In a way, you have fixed up for $1, you are going to pay 91.47 rupees. In a way, you have fixed that today itself. That's what you do even in forward. That's what hedging is. That today itself you decide what is going to be $1 after the period, whatever is going to be the foreign exchange fluctuation. You're not concerned, but how much you are going to bear for that $1, you decided today itself. So you are deciding how much. $1 is equal to rupees 91.46. Eventually you are paying 91 lakh 46,749. That's a rupee outflow. Correct? So come what may, this outflow is fixed. It is decided. Correct? Now see, you can recollect, you can just summarize this entire transaction like this. Let's say, for example, you have a dollar payable. Okay. How much is the dollar payable? You have $1 lakh which is payable. Okay. Suppose this is your liabilities. Okay. So you are supposed to pay $1 lakh. When? You are supposed to pay this at the end of year one. So you are going to pay this, at the end of year one. But for that, what you have to do is at year zero, deposit something. Okay. At year zero, deposit something in such a way that at the end of year one, this takes care of the liability. So at year zero, what you should do? Take $1 lakh and then convert it into the present value today at whatever is the deposit rate. Okay. So then you deposit that 92,000 something something, which will eventually become $1 lakh and it will meet your $1 lakh payable. So today itself, at whatever is the spot rate, there is only one exchange, one foreign exchange, what you're going to do, and that is only at spot. So you're not at all worried about foreign exchange fluctuations at all, because ultimately the settlement is going to be in your domestic currency only. Correct? Okay. So this is what you are going to do in the case of importer. Okay. What you will do? You will deposit today itself. You will deposit today itself. Okay. And are you going to deposit the exact amount or the present value of it? Then the answer is present value of it. Okay. Take the loan and then ultimately you have to repay the loan. Chalo, this is your first case. Let me now take the second case. What is going to be my second case? Now my second case is going to be, suppose there is dollar receivable. Now again, let me keep the transaction same. Let's say Mr. A, has sold goods to Mr. B. Mr. A is in India, Mr. B is in US. So Mr. B has to pay $1 lakh, and that is at the end of 12 months. Correct? Now in this particular case, can I say that I will again need this four data: your deposit rates, your borrowing rates in India, in US, your deposit rates. Uh, Let me write down like this only. India, US, deposit rates, borrowing rates. In India, deposit rates is, let's say, 12%, borrowing rates is 15%, and your deposit rates is 8%, and your borrowing rates is 12%, 10%. Okay, let us keep the rates same. Correct? Now, what is going to happen? First of all, how much dollars do you need? You need $1 lakh. When, how much dollars are you going to receive? You're going to receive $1 lakh. When are you going to receive? Now? No, of course not now. You're going to receive this $1 lakh at the end of year one. Okay. So what's your spot rate? Your spot is $1 is equal to rupees 85.75 and 85.90. This is your bid rate. This is your ask rate. Okay. Mr. A knows today itself that, listen, I am going to receive $1 lakh at the end of year one. I am very much worried about whatever is going to be the exchange rate at the end of year one. So let me hedge myself. So one of the transaction is what, that he can go and enter into a dollar payable, a dollar receivable. He is going to enter into a sell forward with the bank and tell the bank, listen, I'm going to sell you $1 lakh after the end of year one. Okay, what is the quote? What you are giving it to me? So that is your forward contract. But now, what can Mr. A think? One more option is that he can now think that, okay, listen, if this is my dollar receivable, okay, which is 1 lakh, okay, and that is at the end of 12 months. So let me do one thing today. Today only, let me take some loan in dollars. Let me take some borrowings in dollars, convert that into rupees, deposit that with Indian Bank. So now what Mr. A is thinking, that I have a receivable at the end of 12 months. So let me take a risk today itself and let me take some borrowings. Then you must be thinking, sir, you have to repay the borrowings also. Yes, this borrowings will be repaid along with interest. And when this borrowing will be repaid along with interest, don't you worry that we already have some dollar receivable with us. Can I say, with this dollar receivable, will I be able to repay my amount of loan with interest? Come on, yes or no? Yes, sir. So in the first example, we went to Citibank and we inquired about depositing the dollars with them. Now we are again going to go to Citibank, but this time we will inquire about borrowing the dollars from Citibank. So what are we going to do? We are going to borrow. Here, what did we do? We were depositing. Here, what are we going to do? We are going to borrow. And we will be borrowing at year zero and we'll be repaying repayment at the end of year one. Okay, how much will be repaying? $1 lakh. But now if you're wondering, sir, how this $1 lakh will come, don't you worry. Whatever money which I'm going to receive from Mr. B, that is $1 lakh. I don't want to get into the chaos of converting. I will take that $1 lakh and give it to Citibank. Take this money with interest. So for that, exactly today, what should I do? I should borrow the present value of $1 lakh. And that is something which I'm going to borrow at the borrowing rates and not at the deposit rates. So do I have my borrowing rates available? Come on, yes or no? Yes, I have the borrowing rates available, and that is nothing but 10%. So you know what will I do? I will calculate what is the present value of $1 lakh at 1 divided by 1.1. So 1 divided by 1.1 into 1 lakh will now give me $90,909. So I will go to Citibank and I'll tell, listen, I want to borrow $90,909 at 10% rate of interest. Citibank is okay. At the end of year one, now you have to give us $1 lakh. I'm like, okay, or no problem. Anyway, Mr. B is going to give me $1 lakh at the end of year one. I will give that to you. So that 1 lakh will definitely be settled. Okay, so don't you worry. But today, please give me $90,909 at 10% rate of interest. Citibank just checked my credibility and they're like, okay, chalo, I'm giving you $90,909. I'm like, thank you so much. So can I say what I'm going to do? Borrow $90,909 at year zero at what rate of interest? At 10% per annum. Now, what I will do with this $90,909? I will immediately go to HDFC Bank and tell, listen, HDFC Bank, take this $90,909 and tell me how much rupees will you give me. Can I say now I'm selling dollars? So if I'm selling dollars, I have two quotes available. One is bid rate, one is ask rate. Which quote will be applicable to me? Of course, bid will be applicable to me, right? Because I'm selling the foreign currency. So bid quote will be applicable to me. So I will sell $90,909 at $1 is equal to rupees 85.75. So today, am I going to get a rupee inflow? Yes, sir. I'm going to get a rupee inflow. And what is my rupee inflow? Can I say my rupee inflow will be 90909 into 85.75? So this is rupees 77 lakh 95,000 and 447. Okay. What will I do with this? What will I do with this? Then definitely I have to deposit it. And I will deposit this in India itself. So first of all, I've got rid of my foreign currency today itself. I don't have to worry about it. So this is my rupee inflow, which I will be depositing. Okay. At what percentage rate? At the rate of 12%. Okay. Per annum. So this multiplied by 12%. So this will now give me a total rupee inflow at end of year one as rupees 87 lakh 30,900. So this is my rupee inflow, 87 lakh 30,900. Now come what may, whatever is the foreign currency at the end of year one, whatever is the spot at the end of year one, I'm not worried about it. Suppose the spot at the end of year one becomes $1 is equal to rupees 70. If I would have not done this transaction, that $1 lakh which I would have got, I would have sold that $1 lakh for 70 rupees and my rupee inflow would have been 70 lakhs, right? And if it would have been 95 rupees, then I would have got 95 lakh rupees. So I just don't want this anxiety of foreign exchange fluctuations. So that's why I've freezed my rupee inflow as 87 lakh 30,900. Can I say that my rate is fixed here? Come on, yes or no? Then the answer is absolutely yes. My rate is fixed. So now I'm not worried about what is going to happen in future. So this is the advantage of money market hedge. I've considered here both the cases. If you are an importer, what you should do. If you're an exporter, what you should do. Okay. So if you just want to make this summary, you can write down money market hedge. Okay. See, in my sessions, I'll always tell you that you please write down and make note of it and solve this along with me. Okay. If you invest this much time by practicing things now, it will be very clear with you. Just seeing the videos is not going to help. Okay. You'll understand the concept, but if you don't practice it, definitely you'll forget that in future. So please practice it. simultaneously. Okay. Money market hedge. So there is an first case was our importer. Second case was an exporter. Okay. So what does importer have to do? We'll just write down what importer has to do compulsory in the money market hedge. So importer needs to first of all borrow in domestic currency. Come on, yes or no? Yes, sir. Okay, but before that, first you should know what is the present value which is supposed to be deposited. Okay, so I'll write down here, calculate present value of deposit to be made in foreign currency. Okay, so he has to calculate present value of deposit to be made in foreign currency. That's the first thing. Okay, and here also what the exporter needs to do, calculate present value of borrowings to be made in foreign currency. Correct? Then what is your next thing? Buy foreign currency at year zero, at spot. Bracket में write down ask rate. And here sell foreign currency at year zero, at spot, because whatever borrowings you are going to make, you have to sell that. Okay, and that is nothing but your bid. Then what is the next thing you all have to do? Maturity proceeds will be used to repay, will be used to pay the supplier. Okay, and here what is going to happen? Amount received from customer will be used to repay foreign currency loan with interest. Correct? So we are going to take this money and repay foreign currency loan along with interest. Okay, and then fourth part will be loan repaid in home currency towards end of year one is rupee outflow. And here what we will write down, maturity proceeds received in home currency towards end of year one is rupee inflow. I've tried to explain this to you in the most precise and the concise manner regarding your money market hedge. Okay. You can now, if you want, just pause the video and just go through these four things for each and every example. I'm very sure you'll be able to understand this part. Okay. Now, based on this, let us start with your question number 15. Okay. This particular question. Now, see what is given to you. The finance director of P Limited has been studying the exchange rates and the interest rates which is relevant to India and US. So when you see that there is foreign exchange and along with that if there is interest rates, understand that it's a question on money market hedge. Okay. P Limited has purchased goods from US company at a cost of $51 lakhs payables in dollars in 3 months time. In order to maintain the profit margins, the finance director wishes to adopt, if possible, a risk-free strategy that will ensure that the cost of the goods to P Limited is not more than 22 crores. So that's what his wish is, that my total outflow should not be more than 22 crores. Let us fix up, a strategy in a way that my rupee outflow should be fixed at 22 crores. Exchange rates are given to you in which there is $1 is equal to rupees 40 and 42. These are bid and ask rates which are given to you, and 3 month forward is given to you. So here you have to just be a little careful that while calculating the present value, will you be taking per annum rates or you have to convert that into 3 months rate? Then the answer is 3 months rate. Okay, then you will be converting that into present value. We have the interest rates available to P Limited, which is as under India, US. We have deposit borrowing, deposit borrowing. Okay. Calculate whether it is possible for P Limited to achieve a cost directly associated with this transaction of no more than 22 crores by means of forward market hedge, money market hedge, or leading, which is available at the rate of 3%. So here there is forward hedge also, here there is money market hedge also, and here there is leading also. Okay. So what is this leading? We will discuss at an appropriate time, but for the time being, let us check about forward market hedge. Okay. So it's extremely important that first we figure out what is going to be your transaction summary. So there is P Limited in India, and what has P Limited done? It has imported goods from a US company, okay, and P Limited has to pay dollar, so there is a dollar payable of how much? 51 lakh in 3 months. Okay. If you solve this along with me, you will understand that how a question needs to be framed. What are the things which first we have to take it into consideration? What should be your thought process? And then, it will really cultivate all these things in your mind so that whenever a question on money market hedge comes, you know that what things you have to do with it. Okay. So $51 needs to be paid after the end of 3 months. And now, uh, they have given you spot rate. So first we'll write down spot, and that is $1 is equal to rupees 40 and 42. So this is your spot rate, this is your bid rate, and this is your ask rate. And you also have a 3 month forward, which is $1 is equal to rupees 42 and 45. Okay. These are the quotes in front of you. Chalo. Now we have all these transactions available with us. What we need to do is, first, if we enter into a forward contract, okay, so option one, if forward hedge is considered. In case of forward hedge, we will enter into a buy forward with the bank. Okay. So because we are going to tell the bank, listen, we'll be coming after 3 months. And after the end of 3 months, we want to buy 151 lakh dollars from you. What is the quote? So bank is like 45 rupees. Okay, because ask rate will be applicable to you. So therefore, we'll write down rupee outflow will be $51 lakhs into rupees 45. So this is sorted. 22 crore 95 lakhs. Rupees 22 crore 95 lakhs. So this is going to be my rupee outflow. Okay. But let's talk about money market hedge. Now, who are we in this particular question? We are an importer. For importer, just understand this summary that are we required to pay? Yes, sir. How much? $51 lakh. When? At the end of year one. Okay. For this, can I say that we have to deposit? We have to deposit at year zero. How much? $51 lakh into 1 divided by 1.0. What is the deposit rate? So for that, we have the deposit rate in US, which is 8%. So 0.08 into 3 divided by 12. So we are going to deposit this much right now in US bank. We'll go to Citibank and we'll tell them, listen, we want to deposit this much amount. Okay. So that on maturity, can I say this becomes $51 lakhs, and with this $51 lakhs, we can pay this $51 lakhs. Okay. So how much are we going to deposit this today? So in this particular case, your deposit amount will be 1 divided by 1.02, multiplied that by 51 lakhs. So that is 50 lakhs. So I will tell Citibank, listen, I want to deposit $50 lakhs. So what is the rate what you're offering for the period of 3 months? Okay, so this is not at the end of year one, sorry, this is at the end of 3 months. Okay. So how much will be the deposit I'm going to make? $50 lakhs. And that $50 lakhs at the end of 3 months will become how much? $51 lakhs. Okay. So what is the rate what you're offering? Citibank is like 8%. I'm like, okay, fine, no problem. Citibank is like, give me $50 lakhs. I'm like, wait, I will first go to HDFC Bank and I'll tell them, listen, I want $1. What is the quote what you're offering me today? Okay. So what I'll do is, first I'll write down the strategy. The strategy is to deposit $50 lakhs today at 8% per annum for 3 months in such a way that maturity proceeds is equal to $51 lakhs. What is the maturity proceeds? $51 lakhs. Okay. Now, what we will do is, first part. Okay. What is the spot rate? $1 is equal to rupees 40 and 42. Now I need, how much do I need? I need $50 lakhs. So for me, bid rate is applicable or ask rate? Ask rate. Okay. So rupee outflow today will be how much? $51 lakh into rupees 42. Okay. So 51 lakh into rupees 42. So this is 21 crore 42 lakhs. So rupees 21 crore 42 lakhs. But of course, I don't have 21 crore 42 lakhs today. So I have to borrow this, because here we have written that we are going to buy foreign currency at year zero at spot, and we have to take the loan and repay that. Okay. So that is why what we are going to do is we will borrow rupees 21 lakh 42,000 at how much percent is the rate of interest? Just check. My rate of interest in India borrowing rate is 16%. At 16% per annum. For how much period of time? 3 months. So therefore, total repayment at end of 3 months with interest. Now this is going to be how much? Can I say this will now be 16% into 3 divided by 12 is 4%. So 21 crore 42 lakhs. Correct? 21 crore 42 lakhs. If I multiplied that by 4%, and add that with the principal amount, then the total repayment which will happen will be rupees 22 lakh 27,000 22 crore 27 lakh 68,000. So this is my rupee outflow. So I have freezed today itself that what is going to be my rupee outflow at the end of 3 months. So my final rupee outflow will be rupees 22 crore 27 lakh 68,000. Correct? You all can check in the forward hedge. My rupee outflow was 22 crore 95 lakhs. In money market hedge, it is 22 crore 27 lakhs. Of course, money market hedge looks better as compared to your forward hedge, because your rupee outflow, which you have determined, is fixed, and that is 22 crore 27 lakh 68,000. So now you will be telling, okay, sir, this is better. Are no. First of all, we have one more option which is left. That is option 3. That is regarding your leading part. But also at the same time, don't you think that you have one more option which is left, and that is how to calculate the leading exchange rate. So we have to now take that also into consideration. Okay. So what is going to happen next now? So the next thing which will happen is option 3, that is leading. Okay. So now I will write down option 3. Now, what is leading? It means an importer takes the lead and makes the payment today itself without waiting for the period of 3 months. So it's something like this, that I am supposed to make the payment at the end of 3 months, but I am telling my supplier that, listen, I want to make the payment today itself. Supplier is like, okay, you want to make the payment today? I'm like, yes, I want to make the payment today itself. Supplier is like, wait. यहाँ पे you know that $51 lakh is supposed to be payable. Okay. So see, year zero, time zero, and at the end of 3 months. So your $51 lakh needs to be paid. Now, if the payment is to be made today, then can I say that from $51 lakh, of course, I will expect some discount. I will tell him that, listen, yaar, I'm making the payment today. How much discount you are offering? So he's like 3%. I'm like, okay, chalo, I'll directly subtract 3% from this. So 51 lakh dollar into minus 3%. So can I say I am supposed to pay $49 lakh 47,000 today? Okay. So can I say obligation at year zero is 49 lakh 47,000. So today itself, I have to pay how much? Dollar 49 lakh 47,000. I'm ready to pay dollar 49 lakh 47,000 today. But don't you think now in this particular case, what is applicable to you? Now the spot rate is applicable to you. So what is the spot? What is the spot? The spot rate, what is applicable to you is dollar one is equal to rupees 40 and rupees 42. So I have to now first convert this 49 lakh $47,000 into rupees. And how will I do that? Then the ask rate will be applicable. Okay. So there is bid, there is ask. So ask rate will be applicable. So rupee outflow today will be dollar 49 lakh 47,000. Okay. Multiplied by rupees 42. Correct? Because your spot rate is 42. So 42. So what is my rupee outflow today? So that is rupees 20 crore 77 lakh 74,000. This is my rupee outflow today. But today I don't have any money. That's why I've asked for a credit period of 3 months. But I'm just taking a chance that if suppose I want to make the payment today, then how much is supposed to be payable? Then he's telling that pay only 49 lakh $47,000. Now, anyway, there is Indian borrowing rate which is given to you. So now what will I do is I will go to the bank and I will take a loan of 20 lakh 77,007 20 crore 77 lakh 74,000. Take the loan from the Indian bank at what percentage rate? At 16% rate. So I'll tell the bank, listen, give me loan at 16% for the period of 3 months. So I will take this loan at the rate of 16% for the period of 3 months. So what will my rupee outflow in this situation? So I will write down here borrowing rupees 20 lakh 77,000 74,000 20 crore 77 lakh 74,000 at year 0 at the rate what percentage? 16% per annum for how much period of time? For 3 months. So what is going to be my repayment? So can I say my repayment will be rupees 20 crore 77 lakh 74,000 add interest this will give me rupees 21 crore 60 lakh 84,960. So this is going to be my rupee outflow at the end of 3 months, right? So at the end of 3 months, what is going to be my rupee outflow? There are three situations. Okay. Option 1, 2, and 3. Option 1. Can I say my rupee outflow is 22 crore 95 lakhs? So that is rupees 22 crore 95 lakhs. In option 2, what is it? 22 crore 27 lakh 68,000. And here, how much is it? Rupees 21 crore 60 lakh 84,960. Can you just check that here under option 3, the rupee outflow is minimum? So can I say that we advise that an importer should go for leading? So Mr. P Limited should go for leading. Okay, because anyway he wanted the cost to be less than 22 crores. So this is the case. Should go for leading option as rupee outflow is the least. Okay. Now, after this, let us solve one question on lagging. Now, let's read this question first. X Limited is supposed to make the payment of $1 lakh today when the spot is rupee 40 and 42. 1 month forward is available at $1, that is 39 and 41, and the penal interest for the late payment would be at the rate of 12% per annum. Company's cost of capital is 15%, and you are required to advise the client whether to go for lagging or to make the payment right away. See, in the earlier question, you were an importer and you had a chance that if the payment was due after 3 months, you take the discount and make the payment today. That is leading. Lagging means that now the due date has come, you are supposed to make the payment, but you are like, no, yaar, I will make the payment after 1 month. And in this particular case, if you are making the payment after 1 month, then there will be some penal interest which will be applicable to you. So whenever you are making some late payments, don't you think that your supplier is going to charge you with some interest? And the interest the supplier is going to charge you is at what percentage rate? 12% per annum. But definitely in such a situation, you will enter into a what? You will enter into a forward contract because you have to hedge yourself against the foreign exchange fluctuations at the end of 1 month. Okay. And if you are making the payment today, then the spot rate is given to you 40 and 42. So see, we have to check that whether we should take into consideration lagging or not. It means that whether we should make the payment today or we should make the payment at the end of 1 month. Now see, we have to make the transactions comparable. So understand like this, that if suppose I have to make the payment today and my cost of capital is 15% on, of course, per annum basis, then can I say that for the period of 1 month, the money will be notionally blocked as compared to if I opt for the payment at the end of 1 month. That is, if I'm opting for lagging, it means that I can at least keep the money with me for the period of 1 month and then make the payment. But if suppose I am making the payment today itself, then that 1 month interest is my notional cost. It's my cost of capital. Come on, yes or no? Yes. Or else you think like this, that today X Limited does not have any money available with him. So X Limited, if suppose he wants to make the payment today, he has to borrow at the rate of 15% per annum. So definitely for 1 month there will be some interest charged. Or else if you are going for lagging, then he definitely does not have to borrow the funds today, but he will be charged with some penal interest, but he will definitely hedge his foreign currency risk by entering into a forward contract. So ultimately you are an importer and you need to check that under both the options where the rupee outflow is minimum. The option in which the rupee outflow is minimum, we have to take that into consideration. Okay, now see, listen to this. Suppose in this particular question, option 1, if payment is made today, then what is my spot? My spot is $1 is equal to rupees 40.42. Okay, so this is my bid, this is my ask, and a payment of $1 lakh. So what is my dollar payable? 1 lakh. Okay. Of course, if the payment is made today, then ask rate will be applicable. So can I put it like this? Rupee outflow today will be rupees 42 lakhs. Okay. Plus cost of capital. at the rate of how much percent it is? 15% per annum for 1 month. So can I put it like this? 42 lakhs into 15% into 1 divided by 12. So 50 to 500. So my final total rupee outflow will be rupees 42 lakh 52,500. Okay. At the end of 1 month. This is going to be my total rupee outflow. What is my option 2? If lagging is opted, then dollar 1 lakh is payable, add penal interest. Now, what is the rate for it? The rate for it is, can I say 12% per annum? For how much? 1 month. So that will be 1%. So that is going to be dollar 1 lakh 1,000. Now, this commitment is anyway supposed to be paid at the end of 1 month. So therefore, dollar payable at end of 1 month is dollar 1 lakh 1,000. Now, what do you think I should do? I have to cover myself against this foreign exchange fluctuation. So I'll enter into a forward contract. So what is the forward contract which is given to you? So your forward exchange rate is dollar 1 is equal to rupees. Just check. It is 39.41. Correct? So this is bid, this is ask. So definitely I'll enter into a ask transaction. So what is this going to be? Rupee outflow will be dollar 1 lakh 1,000 into rupees 41. So this will be rupees 41 lakh 41,000. Now just check. This is 42 lakh 52,500 and this is 41 lakh 41,000. So what is going to be your conclusion? Your conclusion will be we should opt for lagging as our rupee outflow is relatively lower. So it's okay. Let us take this penal interest hit of 1%, right? And after considering that as well, you all can just check that we are still having a rupee outflow which is relatively lower. Okay? Chalo. So far we have covered forwards, we have covered your money market hedge, right? And in money market hedge, I've explained you both the situations which deals with your importer's perspective as well as your exporter's perspective. Then we have considered lagging, leading, everything. Okay. And before we start with netting, this is one very small question on how to decide whether we should enter into a forward contract or not. But that is with the help of PV ratio. So for the first time here, we are going to learn that whether we should hedge ourselves against forward contract or not. But here we are going to calculate the PV ratio under both the situations. That is, if we hedge ourselves or we remain exposed. And based on that, we will see that what is the average PV ratio, and wherever the average PV ratio will be higher, we will be taking that into consideration. Okay? See what is given to you. Following information relates to AKC, which manufactures some parts of an electronic device which are exported to US, Japan, and Europe on 90 days credit terms. So we are exporting to US also, to Japan also, and to Europe also. Okay. And there is a 90-day credit which we are offering. We have variable cost per unit for Japan, US, and Europe. We have export sale price per unit, which is available. We have receipts from sale due in 90 days, which is available. Then we have foreign exchange rate information for spot market for 3-month forward, for 3-month spot. Advise AKC by computing the average contribution to sales ratio whether it should hedge its foreign exchange risk or not. So we have to check that whether we have to hedge the foreign exchange risk or not. Okay. Now see, what are we going to do in this particular question? See, in this particular case, we are required to compute average contribution to sales ratio. Calculation of average contribution to sales ratio. It means average contribution to average sales into 100. Okay. So this is nothing but PV ratio. Okay. Now see, if we enter into forward hedge, then can I say this 3 months forward rates will be applicable to us. If we don't enter into a forward contract, then this 3-month expected spot rate will be applicable to us. We will calculate the PV ratio under both the scenarios, and we will see that where the PV ratio is higher, we are going to select that. Okay. For that, we need one small income statement. So we'll write down here first option 1. If we enter into forward contract. Okay. Now, if you are exporting to Japan, US, and Europe. Okay. Now see, from sales, if I subtract variable cost, what do I get? Contribution. Correct? Sales minus variable cost, I will be getting contribution. First of all, let us check what is the total sales. See, they have told you that receipt from sale during 90 days is 78 lakh yen, and the export is yen 650. Is this data sufficient for me to calculate what is going to be my number of units which I'm going to sell? Come on, yes or no? Yes, sir. Okay. So if I take 78, if I divide that by 650, so I know that 12,000 units. So am I selling 12,000 units to Japan? Yes, sir. If I take 1 lakh to 300 and if I divide that by 10.23, I will come to know that I am selling 10,000 units to US. And similarly for Europe, I am taking 95,920 and dividing that by 11.99. I'll be getting 8,000 units, which I'm selling it to Europe. Now, tell me one thing. I am going to receive 78 lakh yen at the end of 90 days. If I want to calculate this in rupees, can I say I should know what is going to be my rupee inflow at the end of 90 days? Come on, yes or no? Yes, sir. And for this, I have 3 month forward available, but it is an indirect quote which is given to you. Okay. Now see what is given to you. The quote which is being given to you is, in the first case, it is yen per rupee. It means that 1 rupee is how much yen? 1 rupee is yen 2.397 dash 2.427. Okay. Then I have $1. Sorry, 1 rupee is equal to dollar 0.0213 and 0.0216. And then I have euro per rupee, which is 1 rupee is equal to euro 0.0176 and 0.0178. Okay. These are the bid rates and the ask rate which are given to you. Who am I in this particular question? I am an exporter. So an exporter is always going to receive the foreign currency. So what the exporter needs to do? Can I say the exporter needs to sell this foreign currency? So for the exporter, bid rate should be applicable. But here, because it's an indirect quote, can I say that to get the bid rate, I have to take 1 divided by ask, right? So this basic thing, I hope you are aware about it. So the quote which is given to you, that is your indirect quote. Okay. That is a yen rupee quote. So that is why, what is my bid? My bid is nothing but 1 divided by ask. Correct? So can I say that 1 divided by 2.427 will give you 1 yen is equal to rupee 0.4120. And if you just want to cross check, if you take 1 divided by 2.397, it will be definitely greater than this. So that's the ask rate, but that's not applicable to you. Okay. So we are going to convert your yen. How much? We are going to convert your yen 78 lakh at this particular rate. Okay. So because we are entering into a forward contract. So what is going to be my rupee inflow? So my rupee inflow here will be 78 lakh yen into 0.4120. So that will give you rupees 32 lakh 13,600. Correct? So this is my rupee inflow here, 32 lakh 13,600. What is my variable cost? For my variable cost, I have 1 rupee, 1 unit is equal to rupees 225. So now I will take 12,000 units into my variable cost is rupees 225. So this will be 27 lakhs. Hence, what is going to be my contribution? 32 lakh 13,600 minus 27 lakhs. This will now give me 5 lakh 13,600. This is my contribution. What about US? Can I say for US, the receipts will be dollar 1 lakh to 300. Okay, so first of all, I'll be taking $1 is equal to 1 divided by 0.0216. So that's going to be 46.2963. And what is the dollar which is receivable? The dollar which will be receivable, that will be dollar 1 lakh to 300. So in rupees, 47 lakh 36,000 and triple one. This is going to be a rupee here. So I'll be writing down in sales 47 lakh 36,000 11,111. And now what's your variable cost? For your variable cost, it is rupees 395. So what I need to do is take 10,000 into 395. So this will be 39 lakh 50,000. So this will now be 7 lakh 86,000 triple one. And in the last case, I'll be taking 1 divided by so this will be 1 euro is equal to 1 divided by point double 1 divided by point 0178. So that will now give me rupees 56.1798, which I need to multiply it by euro 95,920. So this will now give me rupees 53 lakh 88,764. So this will now be 53 lakh 88,764. And what's your variable cost? 510. So 8,000 into 510 will give you 40 lakh 80,000. So this will now give you 13 lakh 8,764. Now what do I have to do with this? I will now have to take your average contribution. Average contribution will be the total of these three divided by 3. So now this will give you 8,69,492. And what's your average sales? So that will be the combination, that will be the average of 32 lakh 13,600 plus 47 36 111 plus 53 88 764. Divide that by 3. 44 46 158. Hence your PV ratio will now be 19.56%. This is when you are going to take your forward rate. The same process you have to apply under what situation? That when we are not covering ourselves under forward rate. So your option 2 will be, now you all can do this on your own. Your option 2 will be, if forward rate is not considered. Okay. So then you are open to this particular contract. So that is why what will be applicable to you, it will only be expected spot will be applicable to you. So hence expected spot after 3 months will be applicable. So can you see these rates? 3 month spot. So we have to take these rates. The same process will be applied. And the moment you solve this, you will be getting the answer somewhere around 19.14% or something around that. So then our conclusion will be what? That we should enter into a forward contract. So you can just write down the conclusion. Since PV ratio is higher the better, we should opt for forwards. Okay. Now with this, your leading, lagging, forward, money market, hedge, everything is done. I want you all to now come to this netting part. Okay. Now see, before we start with netting, there is something, which I want you all to pay attention because you all must have done this earlier. Okay. Uh, let's say, for example, you along with your friends are going for a Goa trip. Okay. And that's why I just use the word example. Okay. Because I know that all these plans are just made, on WhatsApp group and never materialized. So I've been there, okay, and been the victim of that as well. But still, let's say for example, okay, you along with your two friends, you all decide that you all want to go to a Goa trip. Okay. So A, B, and C. Okay. You all decide that you all want to go for a Goa trip. Okay. Now it is decided that whatever is the expenses, now only one person will pay it, on one particular day or for one particular event. And then others will, contribute that at a later stage. Okay. So let's say, for example, okay, A is responsible for, let's say, booking flight tickets. Okay. So when A is going to book flight tickets, let's say, for example, he is spending 15,000 rupees. He's spending 15,000 rupees for three flight tickets. So A will now see that how much money is receivable and payable from B and C. B will have to see that how much money is receivable and payable with A and C. And C will need to check how much money is receivable and payable with A and B. Correct? Now total flight ticket expenses 15,000. And A has spent that 15,000 rupees. So A knows that 5,000 belongs to him, and now 5,000 and 5,000, can I say he's supposed to receive from B and C? Yes. So 5,000 is supposed to receive from B, 5,000 is supposed to receive from C. So B in his books, what will he write down? Okay, listen, I have to pay A 5,000, and C will also write down in this books, okay, I have to pay A 5,000. Okay. So if it's a positive, I'm writing down like this, and if it's a negative figure, I'm writing down as an outflow bracket. Okay. So B has to pay A 5,000 and A has to receive from B and C 5,000. Okay. Suppose hotel expenses. Okay. And these hotel expenses amount to, let's say, for example, 24,000 rupees. Now this 24,000 B is bearing. Okay. So B will be like, listen, 8,000 belongs to him. And out of that 16,000, 8 needs to be divided into B and C. Okay. So B is like, I have to now receive 8,000 from A. I have to now receive 8,000 from C. And C will be like, I have to pay 8,000 to B, not A. I have to pay 8,000 to B. And A is like, I also now have to pay 8,000 to B. Okay. Now, let's say, for example, over the period of like 4 or 5 days, for how many number of days I have gone for this trip, there is some, you know, food, travel, etc. All these expenses. Okay. Now these expenses, let's say for example, amounts to, let's say, 12,000 rupees. And C has borne this 12,000. So C is like, listen, now I have to receive from A4 and from B4, because from that 12,000, it will be divided into three. 4,000, it is C's expense. So 4,000 from A, 4,000 from B, he is supposed to receive it. And A will write down, okay, I have to now pay C 4,000, nothing to B. Okay. B will write down, yes, I have to pay C 4,000, nothing to A. Okay, for this food, travel, etc. And this is how the total expenses will be done. Now, with this, They come back to Mumbai. Okay. Now in Mumbai airport, they want to do how much money one has to pay each other. So in this netting, okay, what you will do is A will check with B that he is supposed to pay 3,000 to B and he is supposed to pay 4,000 to C. B is like, I am supposed to receive 3,000 from A and I am supposed to pay 4,000 to C net, right? Because 8,000 received, 4,000 paid. Okay. C is like, I am supposed to pay. Okay, here, sorry, not it's not 4,000. It is 5 minus 4. He's supposed to receive 1,000. Okay, he's supposed to receive 1,000, right? 5 is the inflow, 4 is the outflow, so 1,000. Okay. Okay. Now C is like, okay, I'm supposed to pay A 5,000, I'm going to get 4,000. So net is 1,000. And B is like, I am supposed to, C with B is, I am supposed to pay 4,000 to B. So eventually you all can just check that what has happened. A is supposed to pay B how much? 3,000. Correct? And you all can check B is supposed to receive from A 3,000. A is supposed to pay C 1,000 and C is supposed to, A is supposed to receive from A is supposed to receive from C 1,000, okay, and C is supposed to pay A 1,000, okay. C is supposed to pay B also 4,000. Now, because here B is supposed to receive from C 4,000 rupees positive, okay, B is supposed to receive from C 4,000, okay. Too much of confusion here. So, you know what they will do internally? They will net it off. What they will do is, okay, listen, B, how much you are supposed to receive? B is like, I am supposed to receive 7. Okay. So B is supposed to receive 7. How much is A supposed to pay? Can I say A is supposed to pay 3,000 and get 1,000? So A is supposed to pay net 2,000. And how much is C supposed to pay? So C is supposed to pay negative 5. So eventually what has happened? Can I say that A has to pay 2,000, C has to pay 5,000 and B has to receive 7,000. So don't you think internally A will pay B, C will pay B and B will receive from A and B. So don't you think that all these things get set off? It gets net. And can I say that all these transactions are eventually brought down to receivables, payables, and further it has been eventually brought down by party wise that A has to pay how much, B has to pay how much, C has to pay how much, and eventually we decide that instead of paying each other, we can just see that how much is one party supposed to receive, how much are other parties supposed to pay, and eventually only one transaction comes to an end. This process is called as netting. Exactly. You know, there are many mobile apps which deals with this. Something called as, I think one of which I know is a split up or something like that, in which you all split up the expenses. You add that which all participants are there who are eligible for those expenses. You make a total expense, divide that, and split wise, something like that. Split wise or something like that. Where you can uh, divide it, and finally you can come to know that how much is one party liable to pay to other. Perfect. Okay. Now you are like, sir, during our exam times, why are you telling us about the Goa trip? Now that is because in this particular the same concept you can apply it when there is an Indian company. Let's say, for example, there is an Indian company, and this Indian company has many subsidiaries. Okay, it has subsidiaries in US, UK, and let's say Japan. Okay, and all of these subsidiaries deal with each other internally as well. Okay, so sometimes US has to pay something to UK, UK has to pay to Japan, Japan has to pay to US. So if every time, if I convert them into foreign currencies, then I am going to bear foreign exchange risk, right? Isn't it? That if suppose I have US payable to UK, UK payable to Japan, Japan payable to US, and if suppose I have these foreign exchange transactions at a future date, then I'm exposing myself to so much of foreign exchange risk. So the best way to avoid that is what? That you convert everything into one domestic currency, that is rupees, net off the transactions amongst them in such a way that you just have final summary of your foreign exchange exposure. So in this way, can you avoid your foreign exchange fluctuation risk? Yes or no? Then the answer is absolutely yes. Okay. So in the next question, we are going to deal with this. Okay. So very nice question. See what is given to you, that Star Trek is an Indian company and it has subsidiaries in US, UK and Singapore, named as X, Y and Z respectively, and the intercompany owings are as follows. Intercompany owings. X is the debtor, creditor is Y, amount due is 1 lakh pound. Okay. So where is X? X is in US, Y is in UK. So you all can check that here X in US and Y in UK, are they having a foreign exchange exposure? Yes or no? Yes, sir. Now, very interesting thing here. X is a debtor. Matlab here it is mentioned debtor X. Now, in this particular case, if it is debtor X, means X has to pay or X has to receive. Okay, now just imagine that in your balance sheet, you have a debtor, Mr. A, 1 lakh. What do you expect from Mr. A? Are you going to pay Mr. A or Mr. A has to pay you? Then the answer is, of course, Mr. A has to pay you, right? If you sell these goods on credit basis, then you are entering debtors, right, in your books. So it is like this, A to credit sales. So A has to give you the payment. So here you have to understand like this, that if it is mentioned debtor X, it means that X has to pay. And to whom? Then to creditor Y. So Y is what? Has to receive. So X has to pay to Y pound 1 lakh. Now here students can make a mistake, because students can think that here X is supposed to receive the money because he's a debtor. No, 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 no. Whenever you have debtors in your books, what is the duty of that debtors? Is the debtors going to receive the payment from you, or the debtors are going to give you the payment? Then the answer is debtors are going to give you the payment, right? So when we record the transaction, debtors to sales, right? So this much amount is receivable from the debtors. Okay. So X has to pay Y. Then X has to pay Z. Okay. Y has to pay X. See, X is in US and it has to pay to Z and it has to pay in Singapore dollar. I hope you are trying to understand that in this particular case, X is bearing some foreign exchange risk, right? Same in this next situation, Y is bearing it. Then again Y has to pay to Z. Then again Z has to pay to X. The relevant exchange rates are as follows, in which we have $1 is equal to rupees 46.15, pound 1 is equal to 83.8, and Singapore $1 is 27.7. If StarTrex wants to do multilateral netting or certain the net payment for settlement to be made mutually by the subsidiaries. Okay. Now the first step is that we have to convert everything into your home currency, Indian company currency, and that is nothing but rupees, because it is the Indian company who is going to make the decision whether we should go for netting or not, right? So we have $1 is equal to rupees 46.15. So here we will just prepare one table, okay, where we will write down has to pay, has to receive, amount due in foreign currency, amount due in home currency. Okay, that is rupees. Now, what I will do is I'll start with first X has to pay Y. So X has to pay Y. How much? Pound 1 lakh. And we have only one rate available with us. 1 pound is 83.8. So that will be rupees 83 lakh 80,000. Okay. Next, X has to pay Z, and how much it has to pay? Singapore dollar 30,000. Correct? And what is the currency? 27.7. So that is rupees 8 lakh 31,000. Then Y has to pay X. What is the amount in foreign currency? $70,000. And this is 46.15. That is rupees 32 lakh 30,500. Okay. Then what do we have next? Y to Z. Singapore dollar 25,000. And then it is 27.7. That is rupees 6 lakh 92,500. And the last one is Z to X. And that is $65,000. And that is to be converted at 46.15. Rupees 29 lakh 99,750. Okay, now what we will do is now we will write down here X, Y, and Z. Okay, and here we will write down receivables, and here we will write down payables. Receivables, payables. Receivables, payables. Now, irrespective of the fact whether the receivables or payables are from Y or Z. Okay, so this is much easier way. X is supposed to pay 83 lakh 80. So I'll write down here X is supposed to pay 83 lakh 80. Okay. To whom? Then X is supposed to pay this to Y. So can I say for Y, on the received side, it should be 83 lakh 80 from X. Then X has to pay 8,31,000 to whom? To Z, and Z is supposed to receive 8,31,000 from whom? From X. Then Y has to pay X 32 lakh. So this 32 lakh 30,500, it has to pay to whom? To X. So X is supposed to receive 32 lakh 3,500 from whom? From Y. Then Y has to pay Z 6 lakh 92,500 to Z, and Z has to receive 6 lakh 92,500 from Y. Then Z has to pay, right? Y has to pay to Z, Z has to receive, and then Z has to pay 29 lakh 99,750 to X, and X is supposed to receive 29 lakh 99,750 to Z. So can I say total receivable is 32,30,500 plus 29,99,750, 62,32,50, and 83,80 plus this is 92,11,000. So ultimately, what is happening is that X is supposed to pay 29 lakh 80,750. So there is a net payable of rupees 29 lakh 80,750. So who is supposed to pay to whom? X is supposed to pay 29 lakh 80,750. We will see to whom is supposed to be paid. We will see that which party is supposed to receive the money. Okay. So here Y is supposed to receive 83 lakh 83,000, and it is supposed to pay 32 3,500 plus 6 lakh 92,500. So that is 39,23. So this will be net payable, net receivable, and the net receivable will be how much? See, this is 83 lakh 83,000 like 80,000, 80,000, sorry, 83 lakh 80,000, 83 lakh 80,000. So 83 lakh 80 minus 39 lakh 23,000. So this will be 44 lakh 57,000. Okay. So this is the net receivable by Y. And Z के केस में 8,31,000 plus 692,500. So that is 15 lakh. 23,500, and this is 29 lakh 99,750. So this is again a net payable of rupees 14 lakh 76,050. So can I say X and Z will pay to Y how much? 29 lakh 8750 plus 14 lakh 76,250. So the total is 44 lakh 57,000, and that is supposed to be received by Y. So this is your netting concept. So I hope my dear students shall have understood in this session all the types of hedging, that is forward, money market hedge, leading, lagging, netting. Okay. And I've tried to explain all the concepts in the most precise manner. Of course, now we are also supposed to do what is going to be your interest futures and options and all those things. Okay. Because those are also the tools to hedge your foreign exchange risk. So that's it. I hope you have understood.